Hi, guys. We're going to talk about personality disorders. And in the past, I know I've told you guys that movies and TV are a really terrible way of getting our information about mental health. But this really works very well in our personality disorder lectures. So, disclaimer here, I'm going to use characters from TV and movies to kind of give you a sense of this type of personality here. Okay, so they will divide personality disorders into clusters A through C. And our cluster A is going to be among the odd and eccentric. And our cluster B tends to be among our most difficult, kind of even patients to deal with, but also uh, in our interpersonal relationships, due to the high amount of drama and emotion that comes from these folks. So I do have a little bit of information about that. Let me see if I can get us a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, hopefully that's a better picture there. And then we have our cluster C, which is based on anxiety and fear. That's going to be our avoidant, our dependent, and our obsessive compulsive personality disorder, really all based on either anxiety or fear. So some ground rules for our personality disorder. Obviously, we can't go without a lecture in saying that there has to be some kind of hindrance of function for these individuals. They also tend to lack insight into their personality disorders. I know maybe obsessive compulsive personality disorder might be the exception there, but a lot of blaming of other people with that lack of insight. It's not me, it's them. And then because it is part of their personality, these disorders will present pretty early in life. So first we have our paranoid personality disorder. This is going to be that suspicious person. They don't have a lot of faith or trust in others, and then just kind of get easily aggravated. So this paranoid personality disorder differs from the paranoia that maybe a schizophrenic might have, because where a schizophrenia will have a suspiciousness that is not based in reality, a person with paranoid personality disorder will have suspiciousness that is a believable thing. Like, for instance, if our schizophrenia patient were to have a paranoia about, like, broadcasting on TV their their thoughts, uh, that's just not based in reality. But a person with paranoid personality disorder will have maybe a suspicion that they're being cheated on or something like that. Okay, so now we have our schizoid personality disorder. This is a person that prefers to be alone, the hermit. They really have very little pleasure in life, and it really shows on their faces. I don't know why this keeps going back. See if we can do that. So yeah, it really shows on their faces. So they'll have kind of this flat affect or blunted affect, as we were learning here. And this person will also have little to no interest in sex. Next, we have our schizotypal personality disorder. This is going to be the person, that believes in the magical thinking, like mind reading, that sixth sense clairvoyance, which is, that this like magical thinking, thinking into or being able to like read the future and things like that. The patient or person will have reduced capacity for close relationships. And this is kind of based on not a judgment within themselves that they're insecure or anything, but just other people are different, other people don't get them, things like that. So excessive social anxiety, that's not really diminished with familiarity. So just kind of this underlying social anxiety there. Next, we have our antisocial personality disorder, and this is going to be the person that's going to be the rule breaker. They're going to be the lawbreaker. They have like little remorse. They're really, really good at lying due to the fact that they can kind of read social cues and play the room based on that. They may come off initially as charming as Ted Bundy. I read these stories about Ted Bundy and they're like, oh, he's such a handsome man. I'm like, well, I don't see it, but anyways, he apparently was really charming, right before at some point he killed his victims there. So our psychopaths and sociopaths are going to be among these people. And just for fun, I put a link down here that you guys can open and take your own test for psychopathy to see if you are indeed a psychopath. Incidentally, these people with like antisocial personality disorder, like they tend to like be high adrenaline, have very little fear, and so when it's directed the right way, these guys tend to be like good, soldiers in battle and firefighters, police officers. They do really well kind of under that kind of circumstance. So people can kind of be molded in a way that is kind of congruent with society there. So our borderline personality disorder, this is kind of a more interesting one that you will often see in during patient care, and it does have some specific kind of treatment that we'll go into in the next slide there, but it really involves kind of like these bigger three things. The patient will be more prone to cutting themselves, self-injurious behavior. They're also going to be kind of black and white with their thinking. So, kind of all the way on or all the way off with things. So, one moment they'll have like an impulsive clinging, and then the next they'll be distancing themselves. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I hate you, can all come within a very short amount of time. This person, when we're performing nursing care, we have to make sure that we're setting good boundaries for the patient. They tend to do what they call splitting, especially, with staff members. So, they'll have the night nurse and the day nurse, and, you might come on at night and they'll be like, oh, thank God you're here. You seem like just an amazing person. I bet you we could be friends. This is going to be awesome. I really hated the last nurse. She just didn't listen to me. She was terrible. So you might get caught up in kind of things like that. And instead of showing you guys a description, I thought I would show you a little video about the nature of the borderline personality disorder. So bear with me. I'm gonna get onto YouTube, our favorite place to go. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of uh, oop, splitting behavior here. I don't think I want to watch this, do we? Okay. Um, yeah, a lot of splitting behavior there, a lot of erratic type behavior falls under that cluster B, right? One of the therapies that was created by a doctor at the University of Washington, so Washington can be responsible for this, is a therapy called dialectical behavior therapy. And the more or less, the patient will have, a group skills training. So they actually focus on the behavior of things, like how am I going to um, behave in these situations. And this is along with individual psychotherapy. Um, but within this, the therapist has uh, is very open for the patient. So they don't necessarily have, hours that they um, can, you know, scheduled appointments type thing. But they can call this therapist at, any time. So they do kind of form like this special bond with their therapist, and they're available by telephone contact like just about 24/7. And in that time, they may be struggling with a certain behavior, and the therapist can help them explore ways that they can um, better behave there. And then the therapist themselves has a lot of like secondary trauma based on this, potentially, and they need, to talk themselves. So the therapist will really meet amongst each other, do team meetings and consultations where they are themselves not, breaking any kind of personal boundaries with this patient, but being with them very readily. Okay, so then we have our histrionic personality disorder. Histrionic is a word that I use in the emergency department if someone is being, dramatic. It's just a nice, fancy, fun medical term that we can use to help people in our field see how the patient is reacting. And this is the person that's going to be super emotional. They're going to have a lot of attention seeking behavior. They're always going to be needing to be in the center of attention there. Um, they might have a shallow expression of emotions. These guys are easily influenced by others, and they consider relationships to be deeper than reality. So they'll be like the quick friends, the fast best friends, things like that. And as you can see from this, there's just a lot of histrionics or drama associated with this one. Or narcissistic, the patient or person will experience some grandiosity, and the feeling that they are more superior than others, just because they were born special. Um, these people actually, you can sometimes guess that there is like this fear and anxiety that drives them, but it definitely doesn't appear to be that way. The person's going to be nice and arrogant, oftentimes charming. So it's really easy to get involved with a person with narcissism there, but that this is going to be kind of an ongoing thing. They're going to be constantly needing that admiration from other people. And then we have our avoidant personality disorder. This is different than schizoid personality disorder, who also, wanted to be left alone, isolated. But this is um, where the schizoid personality disorder wants to be left alone. The avoidant personality disorder is left alone or isolates themselves due to fear. So they're going to avoid things, avoid relationships, job opportunities, social situations out of this large fear of being inadequate. They have a nice big poor self-image there, and they're preoccupied with being criticized. Our dependent personality disorder is going to be the very clingy person. They don't want to be alone at all. And they kind of will go along with the crowd just because they don't want to, um, be seen as disagreeable. They really have this fear that if they're not, clinging and needing to be taken care of, then um, the person in their life, in their interpersonal relationships, will leave them. So a lot of fear based on this one too. Um, and they'll even put themselves in unpleasant situations to avoid letting others down. Really gonna be the one that follows the crowd. Our obsessive compulsive personality disorder are going to be like our extreme perfectionists, our list makers, our controllers of the environment. They have schedules or preoccupation to the point they're unable to complete tasks. So get very caught up in these schedules and stuff like that. And their interpersonal relationships tend to take a back burner because of this organization here. All right, and one last thing I want you to see.
taxi driver. Taxi. Is that Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork Orange.
On the preview. Clockwork Orange is the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most disturbing shit I've ever seen. I saw it when I was about 8 years old. It's not shit for little kids to be watching. I think it fucked me up. Seriously.
I'm recording. It's okay. Mean Girls. All right, so there you have it. I just felt like this did a really good job of kind of displaying our personality disorders in a fun way. Thank you.